It was about 10:49 p.m. Central Time last night that morbid curiosity overtook me, and I started musing about the impending failure of the HasLab Black Series Rancor project. It only had 10 more minutes, and I thought I'd see how far off they really were. Last I'd seen it was slightly over the 5,000 mark, only slightly more than halfway to the minimum for funding. Was I ever surprised to see that they had gotten over 7,000? Now my interest was really piqued. I started doing screen captures. Too bad I didn't think to start recording in OBS, but live and learn. As I refreshed the screen, I saw the backers number climbing quickly. If my hands hadn't been busy doing screen captures, I might have grabbed the popcorn as it shot up by 50 and 100 backers per minute. I swear it was like watching Democratic vote numbers on election night in Chicago. That's a particularly apt analogy when at exactly 11 Central, midnight Eastern, the timer hit 0, but the number of backers continued to climb. 8,454, 8,521, 8,533. Really? The button to buy was gone, but the number continued to rise for nearly 10 minutes past the hour. Honestly, at this point, I thought, here we go again. The fix is in. The harvested ballots are coming in through the back door. Hasbro is going to fortify the HasLab project over the threshold. But then it finally happened. A text box popped that said, "Not funded," and the number of backers began to drop. Even faster than it had grown in the past half hour, the backers pulled out in droves. By midnight, my time, I got the final screen capture, 832 backers. This morning, the project was gone completely from the Hasbro site. So now, let's get into it. First, I want to say that Tony over at Analog Toys has a great video about this. I'm going to link to that in the description below. I highly recommend you go check it out. I agree with everything he said 100%, with one exception. I'll get to that in a second. First, I need to front load this with the fact that I didn't have a dog in the hunt on this. I am not a 6-inch Black Series collector. I was never going to be the target audience for this HasLab. I am not a huge fan of the whole HasLab concept. You want more on that, check out more of Tony's videos about that. Check out Retro Blasting, who's blasted Hasbro and their HasLab whole concept. I agree with, I don't like that idea of a big, company taking our money in advance and sitting on it, gaining all the interest on it over the course of a year before they actually get us a product. But that being said, I will make one little concession for the concept of the HasLab project, and that would be this example. Is there enough desire for a product to merit the investment up front by the company? Consider it market research, reaching out and saying, hey, could we get 9,000 units minimum to go ahead and start tooling this thing? That's really what HasLab is. It's a marketing scheme to determine if there's a desire there, and to put a finer point on it, to get the money and say, we definitely have the money, we can go forward. And that's great, except for those people that are like, well, I didn't have the money within that 1 month span of time, and now it's too late. That's another issue. I could cover that in another video, but Michael and Tony cover it way better than I ever could anyway. My point is this. In a way, this was a success. They know there wasn't enough desire. Now, I fully expect the Hasbros to come at me and say, look at how much it went up in the last half hour. You listening to my opening monologue? Honestly, as it went up that fast, I couldn't imagine that there were that many people that were just sitting and waiting till the last half hour of the project to start putting in bids and saying, yeah, I'm going to back now. When it's going up by 100, 200, I mean literally over 3,000 in a day, I honestly thought, yeah, this is the people at on the project at Hasbro that are ginning up the numbers. But then, when I saw it was getting to the 500 mark, I'm like, but if they are, is it even worth going forward with? Is it worth ginning up numbers if you're going to end up losing on it in the long run? Because they can't. I mean, what are they going to have, like 1,000 extra units that they're just hoping to sell later on? That's not really how the HasLab scheme works. So I had to assume, yeah, these were the FOMO people, the people that were like, oh, I really want this. I really want this. Look, a lot of people have been moaning and complaining about what the stretch goals were. And I think, and this is where I disagree with Tony. He thought that the stretch goals should have gone differently, this and that. I agree. I agree with everyone who has said that a cardboard standee backdrop and some terrain scatter bones are not a stretch goal. They should have been part of the original thing. The bones should have been the accessory for the figure, and the backdrop should have been part of the box. But that being said, that I don't see as the problem here, okay? The problem is something else that Tony touched on, and that's the price point. Is $350 or whatever it was going for, is that a fair price for this huge figure? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. The value of something is exactly as much as people are willing to pay for it. And since people apparently were not willing to pay for it, since it didn't get backed, I have to assume that it was overpriced. Again, I'm not the target market for this, so I couldn't speak to it. The way it really should work is the item should be able to get backed to its minimum on its own merits. A Rancor figure for $350, here's my money. And it gets to 9,000, and then the stretch goals come up, and you get bennies. Oh, well, that's nice. I get some scatter terrain. Oh, I get a backdrop, whatever. Oh, cool. I get another figure. Oh, I get another figure. Okay, cool. I get another figure. Okay. That's the way it should work. It's kind of a reward for us doing the work for Hasbro, putting out on social media, hey, back this. It's already funded. Let's try to get this figure. Let's try to get that figure. Okay? But it needs to be able to stand on its own merits for that minimum. Okay? So then they decided, okay, if we can't get it to 9,000, will we be able to get it to 9,000 if we throw in Malakili, the Rancor keeper, in the last week? Sorry, again, it's got to be part and parcel if it's going to be part of that minimum. We should have known about this from the moment the project started. We should have been getting this whole Malakili thing. It should not have been an afterthought. That demonstrates to me that the people behind this project did not think this through well enough. By the time they're saying, hey, yeah, we'll throw in Malakili, we don't even have any, sketches made up for the figure yet. No tooling, nothing behind. This is just a picture of the actor. That means it's an afterthought. Fail. So Hasbro has no one to blame but themselves. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, as a 3 3/4 inch guy, I'm hearing it's pretty selfish, I know, but the 3 3/4 inch people out there are putting out videos and commenting on other people's videos. You could get more done with 3 3/4. Stick to 3 3/4. I'm not going to go that route, okay? Because look, If you're 6-inch, go for 6-inch. I happen to be 3 3/4. I want the vehicles and the play sets and all of that kind of stuff. Honestly, though, I do think it's worth saying oversized figures, big vehicles like the snow speeder and whatnot. I mean, are you going to expect to see a land speeder, an X-Wing, whatever in the 6-inch scale? I mean, how many people are actually going to buy that? Sure, there's going to be a small, less than 9,000 or right in the 9,000 area who might, but is that worth it to Hasbro to put in the time, the energy, the money, the tooling, and all that goes into it? I don't know. I honestly, instinct tells me you could get a whole lot more figures out for the 3 3/4-inch line, or even for the 6-inch line, if you didn't mess around with trying to put out vehicles and oversized figures. But that's not really the important point here. The important point is they feel it out using HasLab. For that, I say good on them. Okay? And this time the answer was no. There weren't enough people that wanted this thing. It shouldn't go through. They might have done if they'd marketed it differently. There were huge missteps in this. And the marketing department has to think through the message they're sending. They are communicating from the company to the buyer. And if that communication is, we want your money, but you're an afterthought. You'll take what we give you because we think that you'll always pay out for it. I know that's not really what Hasbro meant to say, but that's what a lot of the buyers felt like when they were offered bones and cardboard and repackaged figures. They weren't offered anything new, and apparently the Rancor itself did not fit the price point to get it past the minimum on its own. It required additional inducement that wasn't enough. So that's really all I have to say about it. I think these things tend to go the way they should. I'm an economics guy. I believe that supply and demand works. It's like evolution. You can try to game the system, but ultimately, in the long run, things work out the way they're going to work out. And if the market's not there, people won't buy. If the market is there and you fail to supply, you're leaving money on the table. So anyway, I just wanted to get my 2 cents in about this. Check out Tony's video and keep an eye out. I expect Retro Blasting to have a video later today or sometime this week. Always entertaining. But thanks. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like, hit the subscribe. But if you didn't, by all means, blast me in the comments, because that engagement always helps the video too. Thanks so much. Take care.